So Kevin, how is everything, man? I know we haven't actually spoke since your last fight. So how's everything been going? How are the holidays, and everything? Got this main event fight already booked.
It's been going fantastic, man. I cannot complain. How's things been going for you, though?
Good, good. Keeping busy. The pandemic is what it is, but the MMA world has not slowed down one bit.
No, no, no. If anything, we've stepped on the gas and not the brakes.
Absolutely. Before I look ahead, let me look back a little bit with you and say congrats on an amazing 2020, man. I know you're already focused on Derek Brunson and the main event coming up in March, but can you kind of give me an idea, like just kind of cap off 2020 for me, man, how big that year was for you in terms of your career, in terms of financial? I mean, it was such a, I mean, again, I know you're not living in the past, but man, 2020 was pretty amazing for you.
It was pretty nice, but I can't even remember what I did because I don't live in the past. You know what I mean? But it was nice. It was nice. It was nice. Last year was nice. This year shall be even nicer. It all starts with going out there and burning rubber on Derek Brunson's head. So, started off the new year with a new car. Look, last year was so beautiful that this year has already been beautiful. So we just keep going. We just keep going.
I gotta ask because again, I haven't spoken to you since the last fight. I spoke to you before that fight, not after. The Jacare knockout, obviously amazing. You've had a lot of highlights during your career, but does that have to sit near the top of the list? And I don't know how many times at this point people have either sent it to you or you had to watch the highlight. But come on, I mean, you have to kind of enjoy that handiwork right there.
It's sweet. It's sweet, but it's not something that you're gonna do every fight. So it's cool. It's great for a highlight. And it's probably one of the coolest highlights that I have right now. But it is something that is so cool that me personally, I won't get caught up on it. I'm glad that everybody else is caught up on it. I'm glad they all like it. I'm glad they all love it. If they love it, I like it. You know what I mean? And if they like it, I love it. But that being said, I'm curious to see what the next highlight can be. I'm curious to see what I can do next, how loose I can be in 2021.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking to see.
Yeah.
Used to the pandemic, so now we ain't got to be so uptight. Maybe we can just shake it and get a little loose, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Shake it and get a little loose come March 20th.
Yeah.
Shake for me, baby.
Well, the thing about a knockout like that, beyond the actual look of it, which was amazing, was who it was against. Because I know you had a lot of respect for Jacare. The guy's a legend. The guy's fought everybody. And I imagine that makes you feel that much better. Again, I know you're not sitting there thinking about it going into the next fight, but knocking out a guy like Jacare matters. You know what I mean? Like, that's not just some random guy. That's not just some random dude in the division. This is, Jacare Souza, a guy who's beaten, literally the best in the world. That's, and again, I know there's a lot of respect there going into that fight. And I imagine that makes it that much better, right?
It does. It does make it sweet. It does. It's just one of those things where you put the cherry on top. And I'm not really a big fan of cherries, but whenever it's there, I will eat it and tie a knot in it. So I eat the cherry, tie a knot in it, and I'm very, very happy to be able to pull something like that off against a legendary person, as in Jacare.
Yeah.
With that being said, no disrespect to Jacare, as sweet as it is, you still those people asking and saying, sorry about that. You still got those people hitting you up and saying, Jacare was older. What would have happened if it was a younger Jacare, and so on and so forth. There's 1,000 questions, and then it was good. So I'm just curious to see if I can do something even better against somebody a little younger, a little more hungry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I know when the main event against Derek Brunson got announced, it seemed like the fight to make. You guys had a little bit of back and forth on social media. I know, Derek was looking for a fight. You were looking for a big fight. Obviously, I know in Kevin Holland world, you probably would have fought twice already this year. But I know when you first did that, I know I saw an interview where you talked about, there was a little, I won't say disappointment, but a little bit, that Derek Brunson was the opponent. So now here we sit, not obviously several weeks out from the fight. How do you feel about this main event and Derek Brunson as the guy that you get to headline your first UFC card with?
See, there you said it there, right there at the end, right? You said, how did I feel about the Derek Brunson fight? And I'm really happy about the Derek Brunson fight for many, many different reasons. People say I have a problem with grapplers. And Derek Brunson may not be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he is a very, very good wrestler. And if you translate that wrestling with the ability to know how to grapple, you might as well just say the guy was a high-level purple belt or even a brown belt. So it's interesting to go out there and to fight somebody with the capability to smash me. But at the same time, for a gatekeeper to be my very first fight, as a main event in the UFC, it kind of is not that great, and it's like, damn. But at the same time, I find motivation anywhere and everywhere, and motivation is plenty of motivation there with Derek Brunson. He said things, I've said things, he said things, and then Bucks, I've said things publicly. So we're just different, and where he looks to smush, I'm gonna look to really smash. So it's fun. I really, really love the Derek Brunson fight for many, many different reasons. Plus, if I put a hit out on that man and I actually hit him and he gets done and he feel like he's whacked and he don't want to get back up, I'm happy. You know what I mean? It's not like a Jacare situation where I get the dub and it feels good, but at the same time, it kind of like, damn. Brunson, I laid Brunson out. Fresh of breath air, baby. You know what I mean?
Is there something to be said, when you look at Derek Brunson's record, and again, because he has fought, everybody. The only guys who have really beaten him, in their primes have been guys who have gone on to become champion or contenders. You look at Yoel Romero, went on, obviously fought for the title 3 times. Rob Whittaker went on to become champion. Israel Adesanya went on to become champion. Those are the guys who have beaten him in a way, like, again, I'm sure you would have loved to fight one of those top 5 guys or top 6 guys, whatever it is, but when you look at Derek Brunson, I know you're not looking for that measuring stick, but in a way, do you feel like this is that kind of fight where if you beat him, that puts you on that same level? Because those are honestly the only guys that have beaten him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess beating Derek Brunson does kind of show you how big the dick is. You know what I mean? And so that's pretty cool, and so, I mean, I guess that's pretty nice, Beating Brunson kind of tells you where you're going to be at. How you beat Brunson kind of tells you where you're going to be at, I guess you could say. But that being said, I'm not one of those guys running around searching for gold. I'm one of those guys running around searching for a bunch of skulls to put on my mantle, So knocking Derek Brunson out, like I said, fresh air. That's all it is. Fresh air. It's a person who's been talking a little bit of shit. I'm a person that talks a whole lot of shit. So when I smack him and I whack him and he can't get back up, I'm a happy man. Beating him, what does it say about my future? It just says I'm ready for the next person. That's simple. Who's next after that? You know what I mean? And it don't matter who's next after that. I see they got a lot of fights booked at 185, and you know what I mean? Vaginal muscles get pulled all the time, and it seems like a lot of these guys have vaginal muscles. So I'll be there.
With that being said, when you look at Derek, he's a guy who I can't remember if it was maybe it was the Adesanya fight. After the Adesanya fight, I think it was, a lot of people said, oh, well, that's it for Derek. He's never going to be that guy. He's never going to be that guy.
Then, right?
Yeah, and he went out there and had a couple good wins, but again, not, against the guys at the upper part of the division. Wins still matter. I don't care who you're fighting. But then he goes out against a guy in Edmund Shabazian, and everyone had said, oh, this is the next big thing. Yeah, this is the next big thing. He gone out there and he had knocked out some people. I mean, he knocked out, Brad Tavares in very impressive fashion, and Brad's a super tough guy. And, he had the pedigree, 22, 23 years old. Seemed like he was the guy. And Brunson went out there and put it on him. And that was like, kind of like a wake-up call. Say, hey, Derek's not, you can't look past this guy too much. Now, we can sit here and pick apart Edmund Shabazian, but at the end of the day, like, were you impressed by that?
I'm not impressed. Just like he said he wasn't impressed with my victory over Jacare, who beat him twice, knocked him out, manhandled him. Just like he wasn't impressed with that victory, I'm not impressed with the victories that he's had. And in my situation, it's no disrespect to the guy at all. Shabazian wasn't beat. Everybody says people who haven't been beat, you know what I mean? The O just means you don't know what it really probably feels like to go through a serious hard grind. Derek Brunson put him in a serious hard grind. The guy broke. I've been through the serious hard grind. I got 5 L's. I got a loss as a Muay Thai fighter too. I got L's on my record. I got a lot of losses in jiu-jitsu. I'm not stressing it. You know what I mean? He wants to come in here, grind against me. That's perfectly fine. Grinding's not going to break me. I'm going to keep smacking until the judges decide I lost. You're not going to finish me, Brunson. You're not that type of fighter to finish me. Your jiu-jitsu is not that fucking good. Let's be real. It's like, am I impressed by anything he's done? No. Did he go out there and outstrike Shabazian? No. Has he outstruck anybody really? No. He goes out there and he looks to grind. I'm embracing the grind. It's going to be fantastic. It's like swimming, and I love swimming in deep waters. So let's swim. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
And in that regard, when you look at the game plan, I mean, again, I don't typically break down game plan too much, but when you look at Derek Brunson, are you just pretty much expecting, the wrestling heavy kind of performance out of him, or at least attempts out of him?
I expect some punches and I expect some shots. And then but the thing about Brunson is he's one of those wrestlers that break once he doesn't get his shot. You know, it's like, and he can say whatever he wants to say. He can try and come up with this and that, say I'm trying to get in his head. I'm not trying to get in your head. I've been in your head. You break when you don't get the shot. You shoot takedowns, and if it doesn't happen, you break. So I hope he goes out there, throws his hands, shoots his takedowns, and you know, and so we know what he's gonna do. I wouldn't tell him to do anything different. Just because we know what he's gonna do, that's not to say it wouldn't work against somebody. But shit, I ain't gonna let it work against me. You know what I mean? Even if we do hit the mat, your wrestling is the start of my jiu-jitsu, and don't you ever forget that, ever. He can be so.
Yeah. So now, with that being said, what does a win over Derek Brunson do for you in the division? I know, again, you're looking at you know, the end goal is making money and winning championships, but what does a win over Derek Brunson do for you?
A devastating win over Derek Brunson. You know what I mean? It gives me a big check and a whole lot of clout. You know what I'm saying? So whatever's next is next, and I'll take it. You know what I mean? I don't want to get in trouble for saying something stupid, but you know. Jake Paul is fighting Ben Askren. Jake Paul should fight somebody who can actually throw some hands if he's going to fight somebody from the MMA scene. You know, and I can throw some hands. I'm not saying that's what I want to do, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, I want fun shit. You know, it's like I want to have fun. I want to go out there and have fun. You know, so beating Derek Brunson just means I get to continue to have fun. You threaten me with a good time, and I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Fighting
Hey, you know what? Jake is fighting Ben. Maybe you get his brother Logan. You can put some hands on him. Maybe that could be like that could be a future fight. Maybe you get him instead.
I'll take them. I'll take them both. and you know what? They're the greatest boxers of all time.
Why do I have the feeling you're not quite telling me the truth right there, Kevin?
Oh, I'm so serious. They're the greatest. They're the greatest of all time. Let's claim that until I beat their ass. Then I'm the greatest of all time. Let's go. You know, I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna be the best YouTube boxer to ever exist, and I don't even have a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? So, look, I seen them throwing just like, what was it, like some type of snowballs or some shit at Dylan Dan's water balloons. They were throwing water balloons. I don't know why the fuck I said snowballs in the middle of the summer. They're throwing water balloons at Dylan Dan's. I'd have shot that man. You'd have drove off after throwing water balloons at me. I'd have threw something back at you, and it would have been hot. You know what I mean? It would have been hot and heavy. I'd had fun with those guys. But let's stick to the MMA road because that's what I do, right? So after Derek Brunson, whoever's next. If he's 7, I want 6. If he's 6, I want 5. If he's 5, I want 4. If he's 3, I want 2. You know how I go.
Yeah. This is a big run. It's kind of funny. It kind of starts where, you know, obviously with you and Derek, and then they've booked a couple other big fights in your division. Let me ask you about those. You got Marvin Vettori and Darren Till booked, and you got Robert Whitaker and Paulo Costa booked. I know, you know, those are all fights I'm quite sure you would take. You might end up taking, as you said, you might fight Derek Brunson and end up jumping into one of those a month later. But what do you think?
Paulo Castillo is going to pull another bicep muscle from trying to look pretty while flexing on a picture, right? And Robert Whitaker's still going to be there and need somebody to fight. And that's just the truth about it. See, Robert Whitaker, you know, he had that time where he was going through injuries, but I think his body was just beat up. He took some time off and he's back. Robert Whitaker's a man's man. Marvin Vettori, young guy, hungry guy. Him and Till, that fight should happen. But I think Till might be a little scared of this 185 weight class. You know, if he was scared of Yoel Romero, he's scared of us men here at 185. It's just a different type of caliber of men, right? Bigger heads, bigger hands, bigger feet. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. I hope Till don't pull out again. You know, he's always tweeting whether he wants to go to 70, 205. He don't know what the fuck he wants to do. Something happens to Till. Vettori knows who the fuck's going to step in. It's going to be me. I get through Brunson in a devastating fashion. See, I'm trying to be nice here, man. I'm not trying to say that I'm just going to go out there and knock Derek Brunson out in the first round. Because I don't think I'm going to knock Derek Brunson out in the first round. If I knock Derek Brunson out in the first round, it's going to be like within the first 2 exchanges of him shooting for a takedown. But let's not say that because my coach said I talk too much. I'm just going to beat Derek Brunson in a devastating fashion. Let's just put it like that. And then I'll step up and I'll fight Vettori if Till decides, you know, his leg hurts, he wants to lose a little bit more weight and go down to 70. But I like Darren Till. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking a little shit here, but I like Darren Till. His accent. The guy is fucking dope. You know, he's a raw dog guy. The guy is sick. He's a sick-ass guy. But this is a different weight class, and this is different boys here. You know what I mean? We're not boys, we're men. So, yeah, I'll be ready for either one. I'll be ready for either one of those fights. I'm sorry, everybody keeps blowing my lineup. I'll be ready for one of those fights. If anybody pulls out, I will be sticking in. I'm here to have babies. I'm not here to pull out.
Yeah. So now with that being said, I got to ask you, because it is your division, right before your fight, obviously the champion of your division is going to fight at 205. Now, again, at the end of the day, doesn't really affect you because there's other big fights out there for you. But what do you, because I've heard mixed things. Some people say, you know, good for you. Go out and do your thing. That makes it, when you fight him, that much bigger. If you fight Adesanya and he's a 2-weight champion, it'd be that much bigger. Other people say, man, it really does hold up the division. How do you view it?
I'm proud of the ex-champ. I'm very proud of the ex-champ. The ex-champ, the ex-185 champ, I'm very proud of him. Go up to 205 and grab a belt. I notice a lot of these guys don't like rematches. No offense to Conor, but you see why they don't like rematches. Sometimes people catch your number when the mystique is gone. Sometimes people catch, you know, different things happen. I'm so sorry, man.
That's all right.
I think he stays at 205. There's some good easy fights, and there's a couple tough fights at 205 for him. But the tough fights that are there at 205, I think that if he was smart, he'd make them build themselves a little bit more, put them in a better position. It's just a lot more money, I feel like, if he was to go up for him. You know, I don't want to speak on another man's money, but, I mean, shit, everybody wants the big bank Hank. And I think, you know, potential Jones fights, potential fights at 205, being a double champ, you know, I think all those things are amazing. Maybe the guy can come back down and defend the 185 belt, but eventually he's going to have to shave off that titty, you know, and I don't see him shaving off his tit to come back to 85. So he might just stay at 205 and breastfeed everybody there at that division.
Well, I know whatever happens coming up, I feel like 2021 is going to be a very big year for you. I know it starts with Derek Brunson, but that's not the finish. That's just the start of the year for you.
It is the start. You know, it's definitely the start. Brunson wants to slow me down. That's why he wanted to fight all the way in March. Brunson doesn't want me to continue to go out there and have a successful year. That's why he wanted to fight in March. Doesn't matter. I started my last year off all the way in May. March was still a head start. So, you know, at the end of the day, Brunson's like, he's going to cut me and I'm going to have a suspension. If you cut me, I can still fight in May. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I healed pretty quick. I can still fight in April. You know? So, yeah. I want Derek Brunson to bring his very, very best self. I want him to land 1,000 takedowns, and I just have to get up 1,001 time. And then once I get up that last time and I pee, pow, he is going to sleep. You feel me?
I feel you.
Feel me? It's going down,
Kevin, it is always a pleasure to catch up with you, my man. I really appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, have a good rest of your training camp. Safe travels. If I know right, I don't think you really know where the fight's at right now, do you? Like, do you know for sure if it's in Vegas or not?
I don't know. I don't know where the fight is. All I know is I need to hit up DC and finally go get my wrestling advice. So, matter of fact, when we get off the phone, I'm gonna hit DC up and find out if he want to play 2K and find out if he want to give me some wrestling advice. He might be able to teach me something on both. You know what I mean?
Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time. Have a good training camp rest of the way, man. Look forward to seeing you back in action.
I appreciate you too. Martin! Let's go, Bucko.
Talk to you soon, bro.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.